One of the first reviews of a Big Finish story that I did when I was first doing live streaming was Master! Exclamation point. That's the title, Master. There was a 3-part box set from Big Finish which saw Eric Roberts make a triumphant return as his version of the Master from the 1996 TV movie. This was not the very first time he has ever done Big Finish, of course, but this was the first time he was headlining, he was fronting a proper Big Finish release. And honestly, I couldn't really tell you anything about this. It's got Faustian by Robert Valentine, Prey by Robert Whitelock, and Vengeance by Matt Fitton. I can't remember any of this. I really can't. I know that the second one, Prey by Robert Whitelock, is the one that has Chase Masterson in it as Vienna Salvatore. Vienna Salvatore is a River Song type character, American bounty hunter, hyper capable, flirtatious and coy, things like all of those tropes. But she appeared in a monthly adventures range, I think for the 7th Doctor. And then she's branched off and spun off into her own set for Big Finish that's also set in the Doctor Who universe. Yeah, she's had like 4 seasons. She is quite prolific and works very well with Big Finish and has done for several years now. But this is sort of where they've crossed over her character now with the Eric Roberts Master. And what they did for this box set, though, was that they only had them interact for like 1 scene. And then the box set just went along as normal. And I don't really remember anything else other than Eric Roberts being characteristically very, very good in this role, as usual, of course, and he's great for the audio medium. That American accent, it gives the Master such a unique flavour, especially considering that I've been listening to like Jeffrey Beavers or Derek Jacobi. Great actors, but Eric Roberts, that twang in his voice is just, there's something quite infectious about it. So it's with that in mind that I was thinking, I don't even know if I'll bother with the sequel, Master! Exclamation point, Nemesis Express, which sees Eric Roberts once again return as the Master. Chase Masterson is there as well. And we also have Chase Masterson teaming up with Terry and Bob Baxter as a character called Passion, who is the other supporting character for this box set. The synopsis for this one is basically, imagine Snowpiercer, but in the Doctor Who universe. You've got like a space train. Chris Chibnall, you were beaten to the punch. I'm very, very sorry. But you've got a space train called the Kairos, which is a great big recreational train, a cruiser, which is going through the time vortex itself. However, because of the technology inside of the Kairos, it has allowed the Master, who has been some sort of weird, discombobulated, incorporeal form inside the time vortex, to go inside the engines and start to reform his own body. It's with the first story where Eric Roberts' Master takes the form of like an incorporeal, like almost ghost-like figure as he tries to infiltrate the Kairos and he tries to make his body whole again. And we'll play a clip from the first story of this Nemesis Express where we see this incorporeal Master, or we hear this incorporeal Master, try and negotiate with the system's computer.
Anomaly has located the Kairos memory drive.
Relax. It's not like I can affect anything. In my current form, I can't even open the door on this pathetic crate.
Ionization imminent.
Try it. I dare you.
Ionization complete.
You mean complete failure? Bad luck. Ooh, what's this?
Anomaly has gained access to memory drives. Potential fire sale in progress.
Don't panic. I'm just browsing, not buying today, thanks. Viewing my options.
Preparing to commence Scorched Earth Protocol.
You're gonna self-destruct because I saw your memory drives? How honorable, but unnecessary. I'm not intending to set up house.
Moving all termination systems to standby.
There's no need to destroy yourself. Here's the thing. I am not what you think I am. Go ahead. Scan me.
Sensors detecting anomaly is comprised of high-spectrum energy, origin unknown. Kairos systems unthreatened.
You see, this is what happens when you shoot first and use your sensors later. I have no access to your control modules.
Standing down termination system.
Finally! Are we friends again? Good. It's taken me weeks to get inside your mind. The least you could do is to put down a welcome mat.
So compared to the last box set, this one, at least from what I remember from the last box set, that was sort of like 3 almost standalone stories where the Master was trying to regain power after being basically given a lack of a human body at the end of the TV movie. This one, however, is actually one long story. Each part leads into the next one. This is essentially a 3-part Master movie, with Nemesis Express by Robert Whitelock, Capture the Chronovore by Elizabeth Miles, and Passion by Robert Valentine. And they're all set on board the Kairos, and I mentioned Snowpiercer as a point of comparison. That's not particularly true, because while I thought going into it this would be Vienna and Passion trying to make their way to the front of the ship to stop the Master, kind of a bit like Snowpiercer, that's kind of where the comparisons begin and end, where it's set on a train and there's some class consciousness there. Nemesis Express is a decent start. I do think that it's the weakest of the 3, but it is setting everything in place. We are establishing the Master as a malicious creature that is trying to regain a human body again. And we also have to reacquaint ourselves with Vienna Salvatore, who's trying to get on board of the train to try and find a stolen gem. You've got Passion, who is trying to hide out in the bowels of the ship. She's undercover, she's a young thief, and she's trying to make a life for herself. And they get thrown together, and they have to try and stop the Master together. Nemesis Express by Robert Whitelock is a decent start. I think that it's basically held together by a really good performance by Rodney Gooden, who plays Brother Ehrman, who is this really like trigger-happy monk character. And I say trigger-happy, he's got like a mace. He's not got a gun, but he is a whack first and ask questions later type of monk. And I liked the dichotomy between those character archetypes. I thought he was really good in this opening story, and I wish he was in the rest of the box set. However, the box set overall, Nemesis Express, really ups the ante later on. As minor spoiler warning, the Master does regain a semblance of an actual tangible humanoid form. I love the cover of this. Silver Fox, Eric Roberts Master. He looks very, very good. So he gets something akin to a human form. He makes his way further up the train, and he finds a hunting group there that are there trying to hunt creatures in the time vortex, such as Reapers, such as Chronovores, which is a reference to the Time Monster, and it's up to Vienna and Passion to team up to try and take him down. So they try and infiltrate this hunting party, and there's a great scene when the Master, who is the master of the hunt, that's how he's sort of like ingratiated himself into this culture, and he's trying to organize this hunting party between with all the rich and powerful people there, and Vienna and Passion sneak in, and he just immediately notices them and calls them out. It's a really cool scene. There's some really great dynamics that are in this party. Let's play a clip.
Now, ladies, are we going to make a scene?
I would rather kill you.
Such poor manners. By all means, try.
With pleasure.
Passion!
He killed Scarden.
And I won't help you join him.
Wise decision. Our waiters here are very effective at enforcing this segment's rules.
Well, who knows? Once they know who you are, they might even turn on you.
And who's going to tell them? You? Really, my dear, you're being very ungrateful for all I'm doing for you.
You're the one who let us in here.
Naturally.
Why?
Well, it seemed kinder than having you try breaking in. You might have been hurt.
What's all this about?
Didn't you hear my speech? We're going hunting.
What for? There are no creatures in the vortex.
That shows what you know. There's all sorts of life out here, just waiting to be extinguished. This hunt is for chronovores, the great feeders of time.
Haven't you got better things to do?
Maybe. But when I saw there was a hunting party on board, I couldn't resist joining in.
Don't keep the new guests all to yourself, Master. Let's have some introductions, eh?
Of course. May I present Vienna Salvatore, bounty hunter par excellence. And this is Passion, whom Miss Salvatore has taken on as some kind of pet.
Well, that's original.
Well, she says that that is original. The actual premise of the supporting characters aren't really that original. I kind of flashed back to another Big Finish release from earlier this month, specifically one with the Ninth Doctor when he's trying to infiltrate a hunting party, and we have an elaborate group of supporting characters who are amongst the rich and the elite there. So it didn't really do anything in terms of originality for me. I'm just going on to the box set now. It was the Ninth Doctor Adventures Into the Star, the last of the Zeka team by James Kettle. That's the one I was thinking of them. I will say, Capture the Chronovore, though, by Elizabeth Miles, is a really good story. I think in the behind-the-scenes interview, I think it's the producer of the set, David Richardson, he describes it as like Murder on the Orient Express, which is not strictly speaking true. I think the only thing that Murder on the Orient Express and Capture the Chronovore have in common is that it's on a train and a murder happens. That's not exactly the most perfect comparison for a Murder on the Orient Express, I guess, but that's the one that he goes for. It's what I really liked about this story, though, is sort of laying the groundwork in the relationship between Vienna Salvatori and the Master, because in the last box set, it was basically non-existent. But what I really liked about Vienna here, and I think that Chase Masterson is really good in this box set overall, I think she's terrific, and I really got a better sense of her character in this one than I did during the last one, is what she's like when the Master's not around. Because in that clip you hear that she's being a bit coy, a bit playful, a bit threatening, but whenever the Master's not around and she's talking to Passion or she's talking to somebody else, she's like, yeah, the Master is dangerous, the Master is evil, the Master is going to kill us and we need to get out of here. And the fact that it's coming from like a seasoned bounty hunter character, this hyper-capable character, does a lot to sort of reinforce just how powerful and dangerous the Master really is. And I think it's really revealing for the character as well that she doesn't have much of a poker face when the Master's not around, but it just is more indicative of just how intimidating this version of the Master is, at least to Vienna, this hyper-capable, slightly reformed bounty hunter. Like I said, these Master box sets are the only exposure that I have to the character. But Nemesis Express, I think, is a really good Vienna Salvatori box set. I think that these two, the Master and Vienna, are a really good pairing. I was thinking, maybe you could get River Song in this role instead, but I don't know, there's something refreshing about the dynamic and about the character that Chase Masterson really imbues into her. I think that was really good and really well done as well. And Passion's good as well. I think that she is the heart of the box set. Terry and Bob Baxter does a really good job at this character that's really fueled by vengeance. Once again, it all comes down to Vienna, because Vienna is trying to put Passion onto a better course, is trying to instill good morals into her. Passion has never killed anyone before, but Vienna has, and Vienna's like, maybe you shouldn't try and kill the Master because that blood will not wash off on your hands. But he is also the Master, and he probably should die. It's a good dynamic there. It's really interesting. And I also, with Capture the Chronovore, the music and the soundscape, the music done by Howard Carter, sound design as well, also done by Howard Carter, really carries the box set really well. I love the sound design with everything in the Vortex, all the Chronovores as well, these really vicious creatures that age you to death, and the cast have fun with those deaths as well. I imagine the stage direction was just, and then this character ages to death, and the actors just had to really roll with it. But so Capture the Chronovore leads really well into a cliffhanger that leads the box set into Passion by Robert Valentine. And it's a really good climactic ending to the box set, where they get to the head of the ship. Vienna and Passion have to stop the Master once and for all, but the Master has basically put Vienna and Passion right where he wants them to be. And he wants revenge on Earth, so he's going to steer the train towards the direction of the Milky Way. Engines full blast. Earth is going to be roasted, because that's just how petty I am. So for this box set, though, it's really with this one, when time is running out for the Master, he's losing his tangible form, where he really embodies the devil wearing the suit. I think that's what Robert Valentine says in the behind-the-scenes interview, where he is somebody who really tries to lead by charm and charisma, while internally he is absolutely breaking down. He is a desperate survivor who is fighting and clinging to life, but he can't let that front fall. He can't let the facade drop. He needs to have that front for somebody like Vienna as well, who is also... They're dealing with their own fronts. Passion is kind of the only character who's wearing her heart on her sleeve here, which is why this is such a good three-way dynamic with the Master, Vienna, and Passion. I wasn't expecting this level of interesting character introspection from Master Nemesis Express, mainly because I just didn't really remember much from the first box set, but this one is a head and shoulders improvement from the first one. This is a really, really good sequel and continuation, mainly because it does build upon the unused potential of that first one, of having the Master and Vienna face off with each other properly. And I don't really know much about Vienna as a character outside of these box sets, but I still got the real sense of history from the script and from the performance. I'm not going to play much in terms of clips when it comes to the episode Passion, because there's a lot of spoilers for what happens before this, and I try to keep these reviews relatively spoiler-free, but really just listen to how Eric Roberts, enjoys maliciously taunting Vienna Salvatore and how affected she is by that torment. I think the performances here are so strong.
This is between us. Just let her go, or I will kill you.
Vienna. Could it be true? Do you think that by saving her you'll atone for all your sins? Is that it? Please, tell me you're not that naive.
Let her go.
Oh, dearie me. Redemption doesn't work that way. Whatever new leaf you think you've turned over, your past is awash with blood, same as mine. There's no escaping what we are. There's no stirring the cream out of the coffee, so why not embrace it? Revel in your viciousness. Revel in it.
Let her go.
Like I said. No, she's mine, as you will be very soon.
Having listened to a lot of War Master, a lot of Jeffrey Beavis Master recently, it is so cool how Eric Roberts is able to put his own unique, definitive stamp on this Time Lord, especially considering that the Master has had so many adventures, has had so many schemes and plots. It must be very difficult to make him come across as fresh as an antagonist, but Master Nemesis Express absolutely does it. I do like how hands-on this Master is, whereas maybe the War Master would be, he'd manipulate people into taking their own lives, or he would basically hypnotize them to death, whereas this Master is desperate, is a survivor, and he will get his hands dirty and he will shoot people, but not unless he tries to make them beg for it first. There's a really, really good bit in Capture the Chronivore. You've got this character, Princess Natalia Zaccaria, played by Michelle Asante, she's got this backstory where she's got it's a Romeo and Juliet type scenario, but in order to marry the person that she loves, she needs to bring home a beast that she has killed, and she decides to make it a chronivore. And the Master seems to be really super encouraging and supportive of her, really suspiciously so. And when he finally reveals himself to her, he makes her beg for her life, and she's a princess who is very upfront and powerful and stoic, who does not relent, and seeing how he reacts to that situation was so fascinating. I think that the dynamic between the Master and basically every supporting character that he interacts with, including the computer in that first clip, how he's like, yeah, I'm just browsing, I'm not buying. He's got banter with even just an artificial intelligence, just a basic bog standard computer voice, and that's really fascinating. This was a really good box set. I think that if you were to be interested in one of these Master sets, I actually think you can skip the first one. The only prerequisite is just knowing that Vienna and the Master have had an encounter before, but that's really the beginning and the end of it. It's a really good standalone box set. If you're wanting something a bit different from your Master box sets, this delivers in spades. Eric Roberts is terrific. Chase Masterson is great and up on his level as well. And I think that Terry and Bob Baxter as Passion is great as well. You've also got Esmond Cole, who plays Grit Skardom, who is basically this grunt who gets hypnotized by the Master, and he's so relentless and he's so committed to that hypnotism as well. Like, he gets knocked out and punched out like 100 times, and he keeps getting back up and is like, I must obey my master. Like, you have no sympathy for him because he's just so cruel, but you almost want to, because he just keeps on getting put down and keeps on getting manipulated and abused by this incarnation of the Master, who's fascinating to listen to. This is what I wanted the first Master box set to be. A box set that was kind of wasted potential, interesting ideas like a Faustian bargain, and this interaction with Vienna, but it kind of felt like it was still left on the table. It wasn't really fulfilled. But Master Nemesis Express, with its inspiration from Murder on the Orient Express to Snowpiercer, it was a really good listen. I did enjoy this. I don't know if it's making like my top 10 for the year. That's not necessarily an insult because Big Finish released so much, so there's a lot that's not going to make it into my top 10 this year. But this probably makes the honourable mentions list. It starts a bit slow, but once the Master at the end of Nemesis Express finds his temporary human body, that is going to start dissolving and dying if he does not enact his plan. I think that's where it really kicks it up a few notches. I think Master Nemesis Express was a strong release, a strong box set. It's a bit of a shame that it seems like there's no more Eric Roberts Master box sets forecast for the horizon. They could announce one any day now, obviously, but it does seem like this is the last that we're going to be hearing of Eric Roberts as the Master for the foreseeable future, which is a bit of a shame, but I did really like the time that we had with him. But this is the box set that you should be listening to if you want to listen to more Eric Roberts Master. Really strong, really cohesive, the three parts complement each other really, really well, and even though I know nothing about Vienna Salvatore, I really endeared to her character from this box set in a way that I just simply didn't in the last one. There's no Daleks, there's no Time War, it is just the Master and Vienna and Passion on this ship hurtling towards oblivion and trying to stop an incarnation of evil that wears a suit but is dying on the inside. It was a very good release, and I highly anticipate whatever comes next from this range. David Richardson has done a really good job producing this set, his vision for this version of the Master. Really good stuff, really strong.